acne sufferers overdo it. They're like, more is more. I need more acids, more alcohols, more benzoyl peroxides. I love when a client comes in, they're like, Katie, this is like a cruel joke because I'm dealing with breakouts and fine lines. Like, what is happening? Why is this going on? I never thought I'd be dealing with these two things at once.
Yeah. That's why we created ClearStem.
Yeah.
Those acne
I know. This is why I love it.
Be a good girl and get your labs done. I had an interesting experience. I guinea pig myself constantly, and I'm still extremely acne prone. And I got peptides. I've done peptides before, like the injectable kind. And it took me a minute to realize that I was just overdoing it on this particular peptide, but I wouldn't have known that it was that unless I got my labs done.
So Cris Brown, you know, one of my favorite topics to talk about is going to be skincare. Like, as much as we love that inside out approach, I am a skincare girly. I'm going to be adding to cart. And I have actually been counting down the days for today's podcast guests because I am a huge fan of their brand. Like, if you look at my vanity, like, it's basically a ClearStem showroom because I love their products so much. I travel with their hypochlorous acid spray, their Your Sunshine SPF. So like, having them on today is like a full circle moment for me. So please, everybody, welcome. We have Danielle and Kayleigh from ClearStem. Girls, thank you so much for joining us. And for those of you that aren't familiar with ClearStem, this is the brand that if you're that millennial woman, you're like acne and anti-aging, fine lines and breakouts, this is where you want to come because they created ClearStem, which is the first clean and clinically effective skincare system formulated with zero pore clogging ingredients like ever, but it's also going after the fine lines and the signs of aging. Danielle being a licensed clinical esthetician known as the acne guru, who's excited, and Kayleigh being an integrative health practitioner and nutritionist. They came together after both dealing with debilitating acne because it impacted their confidence, relationships, quality of life, like everybody out there knows. And so driven by this personal experience, they combined their expertise in 2017 that led us to ClearStem. So thank you so much for coming on today. I know you guys have been on a big press tour, but we're so excited.
Thank you for having us.
And that was one hell of an intro.
I know.
Thank you. You guys
everywhere with us.
Yeah.
I know. I could be your hype girl. Like, put me on the stage before you go on, and I'll be like getting everybody excited.
Done.
I love
Thank
it.
you for our masterclass tour last year.
I love a good masterclass tour. So I know you guys got into this because this was your personal experience. So I would love if you could just set the stage and really tell us what were your individual stories dealing with these debilitating breakouts.
Yeah, so I have the most like acne prone skin like on the planet. So over the course of my 20s, I was on antibiotics for years, spironolactone multiple times, did all the Retin-A, like every single thing you can think of. And then, did the aesthetic procedures, lasers, light therapies, all of it. My acne was relentless. So I wound up doing Accutane 3 separate times. My acne came right back each time. And I know now that was because of pore clogging ingredients in my products, as well as a couple of dietary things that I wasn't aware of because dietary sugars are not taught in medical school or, really anywhere actually. So long story short, I left the corporate world to solve my own skin journey. I happen to have studied biology, genetics, immunology, and cellular biology. I come from a family of scientists, and I knew I could solve the situation for myself if I had the right pieces of information. But in order to even take a class about skin, you had to be either an esthetician or in school. So I was like, all right, I'll enroll in school, whatever it takes. So I'm enrolled in school, and I see that like treating acne was kind of the medical profession I had always dreamed of. That was why I was studying these things. And there was no going back. So I sponged under a lot of the people in San Diego that had well-established clinics. I worked at a med spa for a year, a couple different ones, learned a ton. And then I started San Diego Acne Clinic. And I've had that clinic for about 11 years now. And I met Kayleigh as one of the first patients.
No way. You guys met as one of her first patients. And you're like, this is so like kismet.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love that word, kismet. I said that earlier. It really
Look
is.
at that.
When I met Danielle, I was a year into my acne journey and so exhausted. I was about to go on Accutane. So in my mid-20s, I had decided to get off of birth control and an anti-anxiety medication I was on. I'm sure you guys educate about this so much because but a lot of the research is coming out about the correlation of birth control triggering more anxiety and depression. So I got put on birth control at the age of 14 for acne and mood swings. And very shortly after, I was put on anti-anxiety, antidepressant medication. And I was on both for about 10 years. in my mid-20s, I was so passionate. I had a background in nutrition, and I really wanted to be prescription free for my body. And so I decided to get off both at the same time, and my skin completely freaked out. I didn't know what we know now as far as like how to support your body to transition off of birth control. There's so many great supports. You guys talk about this. We talk about this. We're very aligned on this, on how to support your body, like while you're on it, while transitioning off of it, and when you're off it, because birth control creates so many different deficiencies in the body. But I didn't know any of this at the time. This was like 10, 11 years ago. So this wasn't readily available information, nor had I learned it in any of the programs that I was a part of. So I dealt with post-birth control rebound effect, and my skin, both sides of my cheeks, down my neck, I broke out with bright red, inflamed, angry red pustule acne. I had never dealt with acne at this scale. I dealt with very traditional teenage acne and dried the crap out of it when I was a teenager.
The oxy pads, the St. Ives scrubs. Yeah.
The only things we were given at the time was just extremely drying things. My skin just erupted. And I tried everything myself for almost a year. Every elimination diet protocol, low FODMAP, like just you name the protocol diet, I tried it. I tried DIY skincare at home. I tried clean skincare. I tried clinical. I tried dermatologist approved. I tried really harsh, and quite literally everything in between. And my skin just kept getting angrier and angrier. And I got to the point where I was so defeated. I felt like I was out of options. This also, like, again, 10, 11 years ago, we didn't have access to as many like functional health practitioners, integrative health, like that just didn't exist at the time. And nor Instagram stories didn't even exist at the time. It was simply just like posted.
Isn't that crazy to think? Remember, like pre-social media?
Yes, there was such a lack of resources. And now I feel like it's gone the opposite, where it's like too many and it's overwhelming. So I think I might go with my lack of resources over today's world, if I'm being completely honest, where you're fed too much information. But I was exhausted, and I was like, I guess I have to go on Accutane. That's truly how I felt. I didn't want to leave the house. I was feeling really depressed. My skin and face was looking so disfigured that I would look in the mirror and not even see myself looking back. And so I thought Accutane was my only option. I'd gone to so many doctors and dermatologists, and I was told birth control, antibiotics, Accutane, or spironolactone. So I started the process to go on Accutane. Luckily, within that 30 days, because it takes you a process of 30 days to get on it, I found San Diego Acne Clinic and Danielle. And our first appointment, she spent 3 hours with me. She laid out every single product I had. So I brought in all my supplements, skincare, makeup, hair care. We talked about pore clogging ingredients. We talked about the supplements that can trigger hormonal breakouts. We talked about the foods, even the healthy foods that in excess can trigger more of hormonal breakouts, which that had never been connected before in any of the programs, nutrition, health practitioner, anything I was a part of, never made these direct correlations to acne before. And I made the simple changes, and my skin was completely clear in 2 months. And then at the same time, Danielle was formulating what is now our Cell Renew serum, which helps a lot with scar damage. And she was getting a bunch of samples from her chemist, and I was testing all the samples. And so very quickly my scar damage disappeared. It was like I had really aggressive scarring, and it could have been so much worse. But because I was working on clearing my skin and healing the scar damage at the same time through our Cell Renew serum, is truly why I do not have any scars to this day, because I've never done lasers for scars, like anything like that. It was incredible. My scars took another 30 to 45 days to go away. It was so fast. Unbelievable. And from there, Cris was born.
That's, I could actually copy paste your acne story, Kayleigh, because that's exactly my story. I dealt with post-birth control acne, and Cris when you said birth control, I know Cris was like, oh God, no, don't say that, because it's my trigger word. I get on my soapbox because I didn't know when I took the birth control pill, the impacts it would have on my body. And having had clear skin as a teen and then dealing with adult acne, it was horrendous, and all because of that post-pill rebound acne. So Cris, I think this is a perfect time for us to kind of transition to a lot of the clients that we work with never had acne as a teen. they developed it in their 20s, their 30s, and sometimes their 40s. So let's kind of dig into that.
We see that a lot too with our consumer base. We have some people who've been dealing with it for decades and have never been able to heal it. But honestly, most commonly, it's people who are getting it for the first time in their mid 20s, 30s, or 40s.
Yeah, or it's it was just like the normal teenage acne when they were younger, and then they get off birth control or they have some other major life event like a pregnancy or stressful career, what have you. And then, or they start taking a new supplement regimen, or they switch their protein intake and start doing all eggs every day. Like there are simple little things that seem innocent that can completely change your skin. So it's extremely common. And a few of those things, the birth control one I'd say is like the top one that most women can relate to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And then having kiddos, pregnancy changes everything. You're not
Doesn't it though? Doesn't it? Being a mom changes so much. Now, Cris, you work with you are our head coach in the Clear Skin Solution. You're seeing client files every day. What are those trends that you've been seeing with our adult acne sufferers?
If you get it as an adult, it almost seems more detrimental than a teen, right? Because as a teen, it's expected. As a society, we say, oh, because you're a teen, it'll go away. And then come 20, and, it's right around that college, like merging out of high school into the college. For sure. Lifestyle. They're partying, they're binging, they're not sleeping, they're cramming, like whatever it is. And there's some people that don't do it and get it, but it's these life triggers. And then all of a sudden it becomes so debilitating that they don't have confidence, that they can't even show up and do a speech or a presentation, and when there was no issues before. It's the ridicule, it's the judgment. And that's kind of what's happening. And then fast forward when we get into the 40, it's like, I'm 40. Why do I have acne? This is ridiculous. I never had acne before. So no matter what stage, just has a different set of judgment that goes on to it, that just plows into that psyche.
Yes, that's such a good way to
right.
put it.
And we can look at all the foods. Yeah, we can look at all the foods, and we do absolutely. We do look at we do the whole lifestyle, right? It's not just about one. It's how you put the food in, what you do when the food goes in, what happens when the food's not coming out, right? Like it's all of it. But the thing is to understand that biochemically, yes, not having pore clogging ingredients is universal. Changing your diet is universal. Adopting a lifestyle is universal. So it's kind of the disconnect from that, because like you said, there's so much on the internet. We play with clients or people that are wanting to come into the Clear Skin Solution, and they're like, well, I was checking this person. They said that I can eat oats. And this person says I don't need to take dairy out. And this person, and I'm like, well, I actually get nauseous sometimes when I'm hearing it, because I feel like I'm on a roller coaster, because I'm like, I know. And people want to trend towards what they don't have to change the most versus what's going to work, right? I'm sure you see that even in your products. Do you not?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great point. Like something we like to focus on, which you said so well, we like to eliminate the biggest variables for people that are create the most change, which is why like when we are educating to our customers, we always recommend like first remove the pore cloggers. In my opinion, the easiest thing to do, because you're not asking someone to eat different food, buy different food. You're not asking for all the lifestyle changes yet. So you're easing
coming.
Yeah, it's coming. But you're easing them into that change and that commitment. Plus, it's a huge variable that is created externally. It is physically clogging your pores. So we always start people there, because then they can start to see change. And when people start to see change, they're more committed to it. So the first thing I'm like, okay, swap out all your products. Obviously, ClearStem, where we formulate with no pore clogging ingredients. You can switch to our products. Then when it comes to makeup and other things, we provide a lot of recommendations for brands that are non-pore clogging that we support. And we start there and they start seeing a difference. So that gets them bought in of like, okay, we're on to something here. Maybe this will work. And then that gets them more committed, because then they start to see the change and they want more change now. They start to crave that change. So that gets the buy-in for all the other switches that are to come. But the great part about it is, and you guys know this, when people shift things lifestyle-wise, food-wise, stress-wise for acne, it ends up shifting every part about them in a positive way, like how they feel about themselves, how they sleep, mood changes, PMS symptoms, everything. So clearing your skin, it can seem vain at first, right? But it's actually not a vain issue at all. You're actually making such a positive shift for your entire body because clear skin is really the catalyst to change everything.
We see that with our clients because it's the biggest driving momentum, where we have a client say all the time, right, Cris, they're like, had this just been bloating or headaches, I kind of would have probably let this slide. And they're like, I'm so glad I had acne, and I'm grateful for my acne because it forced me to look at my health and realize, oh man, like there is a lot going on. And I know you guys both know this, that when you fix what's causing your acne in the first place, the internal, you get rid of the pore cloggers, you're actually reducing your risk of disease later on in life.
Yes. And you're making yourself age a lot better too.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that's going to be helpful for acne is also going to reduce inflammation, and that's going to help the entire rest of your body. And
like the millennial woman is really the audience that we both have, because I love when a client comes in, they're like, Katie, this is like a cruel joke because I'm dealing with breakouts and fine lines. Like, what is happening? Why is this going on? I never thought I'd be dealing with these two things at once.
Yeah. That's why we created ClearStem.
Yeah.
Most acne
I know. This is why I love it.
Age faster. Yeah. Most acne products just dry your barrier, which makes you age faster. And then most anti-aging products have pore clogging filler agents in them that break you out. So you're like stuck in this vicious cycle. So ClearStem is first and foremost an acne brand, but all of our formulas are extremely anti-aging as well and have all the epidermal growth factors, the collagen stimulators, the stem cells, all that stuff that you would find in a traditional, really good anti-aging line, but with all the stuff that keeps you clear.
That's the thing, right? Is you're so right, is the acne sufferers. I'm sure you see this, Danielle, being an esthetician. Acne sufferers overdo it. They're like, more is more. I need more acids, more alcohols, more benzoyl peroxides. And can you kind of talk to what is that doing to their skin for acne, but also for the anti-aging component?
Definitely. So we'll talk about benzoyl peroxide first. There's a time and a place for benzoyl peroxide. I use it sometimes in my clinic for generally like teenage boys or people that have a lot of oily, pustule, and or cystic acne, as long as their skin's not dry. So if it's really inflamed acne and a little bit more oily skin, I'll incorporate benzoyl peroxide, but I'll have them do it as a mask. A 10% as a mask for 30 minutes a couple of times a week is fantastic. I prefer sulfur in general because I feel like it's extremely effective, but not as damaging to the barrier. So when you over rely on benzoyl peroxide, you're going to be flaky, peely. It can make you get hyperpigmentation. So if you have naturally melanated skin and it's extremely dry, your skin's only line of defense against UV exposure is to turn dark. So that's why a lot of people with darker skin overusing benzoyl peroxide also have patchy darkness in their skin. And you're aging faster too. Anything where you take away your skin's natural moisture, you're going to age a lot faster. So benzoyl peroxide, that's why I don't like to over rely on it. It's useful as a mask. Mandelic acid is a little more foolproof. You can use mandelic acid every night if you want to, and ours is designed to be supportive of the barrier. But mandelic acid goes in and dissolves the things you don't want in your skin anymore. It can dissolve the congestion in your pore. It can dissolve like makeup residue. It can dissolve scar tissue. It can dissolve even fungal acne. So that's why mandelic acid is the sweet spot over benzoyl peroxide, in my opinion. And benzoyl peroxide has zero anti-aging benefits. If anything, it'll make you age faster. Mm-hmm. So mandelic acid also stimulates collagen and makes you brighter, so it's anti-aging. So, everyone's going to use these tools differently, and the frequency and the strength of these tools is also a variable. So it's all about exfoliating as much as you can to keep your skin smooth and clear, but without creating unnecessary dryness.
And then the mandelic acid that we formulated is our Clarity Serum. It's so incredible. We also coupled it with turmeric and vitamin C, so you have that calming, you have that brightening. And then our benzoyl peroxide spot treatment alternative we did with sulfur, clay, and a little glycolic and zinc. So it draws out the impurities, it zaps them. It's really great for those whiteheads. And you can also use it as a mask. So we call it sulfur spot and mask for that exact reason. You can use it as a spot treatment, or you can put it over if you're really struggling with like surface area acne. Like I was at my worst, it was all over my cheeks. You can put it on, leave it on as a mask, and then wash it off.
Yeah, I would say the Clarity and the Cell Renew are probably two of my favorite products that you guys have. And like the combination of them together is just like next level.
Yeah, you're unclogging the pore, and then you're also helping with the scar at the same time, because that's what gets overlooked in so many different acne product lines is it just focuses on the drying. But if we're aggressively drying out the skin, a harsher scar is forming, and a scar that's also going to last longer. But you can actually work on breakouts, dissolving that clog, and working on the scar at the same time. So you either reduce the scar happening in the first place or reduce the length of time that the scar lasts. Some people, they used to have scars that would last almost 6 months. And now they're like, I can get it to go away in a week or two. Mm-hmm. And that's incredible. That's life-changing for people.
It's hugely life-training because Cris, like working with the clients day in and day out, they're like, okay, I got rid of my acne. Now I have all the scarring.
And that's where a really good sunscreen comes in.
Yes, the Your Sunshine.
Yeah, Your Sunshine is an amazing sunscreen. So I would tell my clinic patients this, like, I can get you clear and smooth, no problem. The red spots that are left over, the PIH, PIE, that you have to use sunscreen for. So sunscreen is just as part of your acne regimen as anything else. A zinc-based sunscreen is the only one you should be using. All the other ones, all the chemical sunscreens are just kind of crap. Like, there's a lot of reasons why we shouldn't be using them.
Hormone disrupting, bad for the reef. You can't tell if you applied it evenly, and you can't tell when it has worn off. Zinc, especially ours, you can see it on your skin. You know exactly how much coverage you have. That's what you want. Otherwise, you're just going to age faster because the sun is going to seep in faster and more unpredictably. So Your Sunshine, it's also, zinc is anti-inflammatory. You want that for both acne and for aging. And we also put green tea and gotu kola and a bunch of other really, really calming things in there too. And can you just clarify, how often should we be wearing our sunscreen, please and thank you?
Face, neck, chest, all day, every day. Mm-hmm. Even inside. Windows in here. I know anyone who tells you that you should not be wearing sunscreen on your face, neck, and chest because you need the vitamin D doesn't understand the basic principle of surface area, and they should be ignored. Get your UVB exposure through the biggest surface areas of your body, like your arms, your torso, your back, your legs. You do not need to get it through your face, neck, or your delicate chest. The chest is actually very hard to treat. You do not want to have sun damage there. So yes, go get your sunshine. It does not need to be through your face.
Yeah, you better believe, like, I want my vitamin D and I'm going to be getting it on my surface, bigger surface, my arms, my legs, my back. But when I go outside to walk the dogs, we got the Your Sunshine, like, from top of my head down to my cleavage line because I don't want to age that area.
1,000%. I wish I had known that back in the day. I have hypopigmentation. Well, I got hypopigmentation because my acne was so deep and so relentless that my skin actually turned white, where I had a lot of like the really aggressive cysts. And that it was because they were so, weakened. They were in a weakened state. And then I kept getting sun exposure on them without sunscreen. So now I have like irreversible damage on my chest because I wasn't protecting it.
If I could go back and not go on the tanning beds, I absolutely would. Like, that is probably one of my biggest regrets as a teenager.
I'm so glad that my mom was so against it. I like snuck the tanning bed a few times, but I was so terrified of getting caught and getting in trouble. She would literally like ground me if she knew I was like doing the tanning bed. And so like, because my parents like were stricter and always knew where I was, and I didn't have a car growing up, I couldn't like easily sneak away to a tanning bed. And now I'm really grateful for that because I tried to. I like attempted to multiple times, and I'm really grateful. I was so strict because I wouldn't have lived in it as a teenager.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. My mom was the same, but when I went to university, I had a car and she wasn't there. So I could go tanning as much as I wanted. And I'm like, damn, I wish I didn't do that. So Cris, I know the thing that you were most excited to talk to Kayleigh and Danielle about was the trending products, because what are the products that you're hearing from the clients? They're like, oh, I saw this on Instagram.
I get asked about colostrum, collagen, beef tallow.
Oh my God, the
Botox.
Beef tallow. The beef tallow. So I get that in my DMs every day. What about beef tallow?
Oh, because it's the ads are like surfacing through. As soon as and people don't really understand the algorithm. As soon as you type in acne, you're going to get everything that's projected those sales to acne, right? That's just how it works. However, you have the products, you have the clog. Like, what are we thinking about colostrum, collagen, beef tallow, Botox, just in general?
I'll start with colostrum. Not that I think it's a bad thing. I have two viewpoints on it. One is just odd, because there's some healing protocols where you want to be doing things that are restoring the gut lining, and colostrum has been used in certain protocols for a really long time. But now it's so mainstream. Like, why are we taking something from essentially breast milk that is meant to grow animals and consuming this as human for every single day for long periods of time. Like our bodies just aren't built for that. We stop breastfeeding at a certain age for a reason. We don't need to like put it back in our body in a later age. So like in general, it's just an odd thing to me. The thing that a lot of people don't know is that colostrum is dairy. And dairy is one of the biggest food groups that cause acne. It's the first thing that we recommend people to eliminate for a period of time when they're working on healing their skin. And they can slowly bring it back in and see how their skin reacts and make sure it's in a high quality form, all the different things, right? But dairy is a huge, huge acne trigger. And a lot of our customers, they'll remove all dairy, but they get served so many ads for colostrum that they'll start incorporating that in their morning coffee, matcha, or smoothie because no one is telling them that colostrum is dairy. It's not like a widely advertised thing. And so I feel like a personal goal recently, I'm like, I just need people to know that colostrum is dairy. So if you are dairy free, if you have issues with dairy, if you break out from dairy, colostrum can cause those same breakouts. And I think that's just important for people to know. So personally, I don't consume it. I don't feel the need for it. I do a lot of other things that help with my gut and reduce processed food intake that I don't see it as like a necessary supplement that's actually going to create massive change in your body. I'd rather support my liver.
I think people need to remember, and this applies to the beef tallow too, industries have waste product. If they figure out a way to sell the waste product, they make more money off of the same raw material.
Yep.
That is whey, that is beef tallow, that is like, and it can be nice things too, like, bone broth powder, things like that. Hey, glad we're using the bones, right? Mm-hmm. But just remember, like, not everything is like inherently good just because it's like natural and because the concept is great. It's just something they have extra lying around and, there's a story behind it and there was a marketing moment. It's not going to be like a Hail Mary for everyone.
Exactly. And think about the physiological processes inside the body. Colostrum is only 3 to 5 days where it really starts to come out to the breast milk. So you're getting fed that for 3 to 5 days. It serves its purpose and away we go. So as an adult.
Interesting. I've never thought about it from that.
It's the first milk. I don't even think most of it's real, to be honest.
I've never thought about it that way.
Yeah. It's colostrum begins a transition into mature milk.
Yeah. Very quickly. So
I always look at it, and this is what I try and do with clients. I also think a little bit different than the average bird too. So that's fine. I just always go back and say, okay, well, what's the purpose of the colostrum? When is it manufactured? Where is it manufactured? Who is it manufactured by? And for what purpose and longevity and term? So for everything I look at, like even like the tallow, yeah, there might be some purpose for it, but whey, you cannot get me on this band camp. Unless there's a listener out there and you want to try, come in, because whey is 100% the residual byproduct of what's left. And it doesn't matter. But again, it was a marketing opportunity. Now your body has to break that down. If your body doesn't have enough hydrochloric acid, or it's already struggling with bile acids and it cannot even support the 50 plus hormones that we have in our body, because that's a biosynthesis of. These are those small little things that I'm always like kind of connecting with our clients, right? And if something's only going to last 10 to 14 days in total, why as an adult are you consuming it? Or why is it as a byproduct are you consuming it? What's the benefit? And collagen, I like collagen for time, place, and purpose. But collagen is silica. And yes, it builds. But if you cannot break down that collagen, anybody heard of skin tags? Because that's what it's filled of, right? Like it's these small things. And the body will try and get rid of something it can't break down. And amino acids, it's not just, oh, by the way, there you go. The body has to do an extra set of something.
That's why we're not big on collagen. We're big on collagen cofactors like silica and sulfur and astaxanthin and vitamin C and L-lysine, like helping your body synthesize its own supporting the natural factory is going to be the best for long-term structure and quality and to avoid byproduct. It's kind of like when people take a ton of biotin, breaks everyone out.
Yeah, they're just taking way too much biotin for the body. Your body needs it, but not in that large amount.
Right.
Yeah.
And it competes with other, and to your point, Cris, like taking too much of something will throw something else off balance. It's like
the
everything is
minerals
like
work
skincare.
together or they're antagonists, right? Like even silica. How many products have silica in it? Binding agent, right? There's a time and place for it. But then as we increase that, then are we using it? Right. And then if we have fine lines and wrinkles because we cannot do the synthesis or the metabolism inside the body because we're taking all this collagen in, which isn't even a complete protein, then what? Right. So it's like, again, everybody listening, go back. What's the purpose? What's it missing? What does it need? What does it have? What's the cofactors?
Yeah. And to your point, what does it need? Like doing the lab work to address your actual deficiencies and what organ systems need the supporting. That's what we should be doing.
Because if we're just going and taking all these random supplements we see on Instagram or on TikTok, we don't really know what we're going after internally. We're not looking at those functional labs to determine where are those deficiencies and imbalances.
Be a good girl and get your labs done. I had an interesting experience. I guinea pig myself constantly, and I'm still extremely acne prone. And I got peptides. I've done peptides before, like the injectable kind. And I wanted to try Thymosin A. And real quick, before I do anything new, I just say, like, does it have an effect on testosterone? If something spikes testosterone, it's going to give me a flare up. So I avoid that. So I did the first clearance check. It was fine. But then I did a ton of Thymosin Alpha, which is fantastic for a lot of people, but it can spike IGF-1. Insulin-like growth factor, which is the same exact hormone in dairy that causes hormonal acne. So my skin erupted, and it took me a minute to realize that I was just overdoing it on this particular peptide, but I wouldn't have known that it was that unless I got my labs done, because my IGF-1 was through the roof, and that was the only thing I changed. I stopped taking it. Immediately my skin cleared up and it went away. So
Like
labs work, the dream work.
It really does, though. And I see so often, even from like other practitioners, and I think they just don't understand the value that you can get from lab work. Because,
well, that's because it's been disappointing before. We get it from our doctors and it doesn't mean anything. It's like, oh, you're normal.
Or they just tell you you're deficient in vitamin D.
Yeah.
That's like the go-to.
just take some more vitamin D and you'll be fine.
That's true. Everyone I talk to that gets lab work done from the doctor, it's just like, I'm deficient in vitamin D. They told me to go get one from like the local pharmacy. And I'm just like, oh, and they don't even educate about the K2. They don't educate about the magnesium. They don't educate about maybe let's try to get it from the sun a little bit more. They don't provide any recommendations as far as like RDV and cadence and when to stop, because it's also fat soluble. And the reason why I'm on a vitamin D rant is because vitamin D is very much linked to androgens. And so it can have the possible effect of raising testosterone levels and raising androgens, which then triggers acne for most people too.
Dairy and D get you where you'd have a goatee.
Okay, this is so funny. So like every time we're filming like cute little things for social media that our team has us do, they like love us doing like a smash or pass, or like, do we like it, do we not? And they want, like, as you know, kiddingly, they want us to give like quick one responses. And Danielle and I like refuse to, because we want to add context to everything. We're like, smash, but only on protocols, or pass. But like sometimes it's we want to add context to everything, so it's not like smash or pass vitamin D. It's like the context of it. I'm like, you need magnesium and K2, and when do you start? How much do you take? When do you stop? And which is why it's so. And this can seem so overwhelming for people, but this is why it's amazing to work with people like you guys, the Clear Skin Chronicles, because you guys are actually providing that valuable information from the blood work and a bit more customized protocols of when to stop, start, how much, when to stop, what you also need to take it with, what you need to be aware of.
Absolutely. I think like here at the Clear Skin Solution, Clear Skin Chronicles, like we love doing the inside out approach, and we're so obsessed with ClearStem because you guys check all the boxes that we're after from the holistic perspective. So it can really show that you guys have the holistic background, because you're looking at hormone disrupting ingredients, you're looking at pore cloggers, you're not putting nasty cancer causing ingredients, you're thinking about anti-aging, you're not drying out the skin. And like when I saw those boxes checked, I was like, okay, this might be like the perfect product that we can get our clients to use, because they're not damaging the work that we're doing internally. Because just as a sidebar, let's talk about the hormone disruptors that we're seeing in so many products, especially acne products. Like if I have one more person say, what about Cetaphil or CeraVe? I'm like, can we just read the ingredient list?
I hate those two products. Not only are the cleansers are both very underwhelming. The moisturizers do have a light pore clogger in them, but they're just not fantastic products. like at all. I think they just have a really nice marketing relationship with derms. They give them the free samples. Your derm gives it to you. You immediately trust it. Boom. It's psychologically, it's great marketing. But as far as products go, like I would put people on a Trader Joe's regimen that is 10 times more effective than a Cetaphil regimen, hands down.
So for you guys being in the skincare world, like what are you finding are some really big trending products that we haven't chatted about that are actually going to be breaking people out?
I think a very interesting one is the trendiness of lip products right now. So for anyone that doesn't understand the skincare industry and the beauty industry in general, when you sign on with a big mass retailer as a beauty brand. And a lot of times if you sign on too early where you don't have any leverage to push back on things, where they own you a bit more, they direct what are the next trends. So we've seen a huge lip trend for the last year plus, right? We've seen brands like Summer Fridays and Rhode, and then you see everyone launch competing lip products. And it is because mass retailers choose a category and then they tell everyone to create more within that category because it's doing really well. And so that's like in general, just how the industry works. And what's interesting about lip products is a lot of people don't think about lip products and pore clogging or hormone disrupting as well. But if you think about it, not only is it going on your skin, like as far as the hormone disrupting side, not only is it going on your skin, but you're also ingesting it. Mm-hmm. Yes, it's a smaller amount, but you're ingesting it more than other areas of the skin. But two, so many of them have pore cloggers. And so a lot of people are getting those tiny little, really painful bumps, acne bumps on their lip line. I know Danielle and I are both guinea pigs and we love testing out product. And so I've tested so many of the really trendy lip products just to see how they perform, how they feel, like why everyone loves them so much, right? I was so curious. And there was one that I used it kind of in the morning time. By the end of the day, I had 2 painful breakouts around my lips. I was like, this is so interesting. And so that's just like something to be aware of that a lot of people don't think about. We made our Lips and Cutes as our non-pore clogging lip balm. And it's also a lip peptide treatment too. So you're going to get that treatment aspect to your lips. But that's just like an interesting trend that people overlook when it comes to pore cloggers.
I think that's so interesting that you brought this up because back in March, I revamped and I made this massive blog and I actually used your pore clogging checker to create our blog, which was all acne safe makeup. And I went to town. I spent probably 8 hours on this list. I went through all of the popular things, copied it in, pasted it, and I made this massive blog. And then I remember I was getting to lips and I forget who was over that day, but someone's like, Katie, you don't need to add lip stuff to this. You're getting out of hand. And I was like, whoa, what do you mean? You can't be putting lip liner and lip gloss on and not realizing it's going to be impacting all this really delicate skin where you can easily be clogging these pores. So I love that you brought that up.
I also know a lot of people that have celiac that have a lot of gluten allergies from certain lip products that they'll break out in really bad rashes. Yeah, one of my friends, Nicole, she has to check it for gluten byproducts.
When I was dealing with acne, I was going to this natural spa where I lived, and they were using a brand. I don't want to call them out because I like some of their products, and it was an all natural food-based brand. And I couldn't figure out why my acne was getting worse when I switched over this product line. And at that same time, I discovered I was celiac and realized all of the products I was using had gluten byproducts in. So I have been religious since then, always double checking.
That happened to me with a hair care line. It was right around the time I also learned that I had celiac, and I was getting it was during the peak of my acne, but I had switched hair care and then it was all of a sudden getting even more aggressive. And I found out the hair care I was using had gluten byproduct. And as soon as I switched that out, that part started to calm down. But it's wild, the things we have to think about. But a lot of the gluten byproducts, they kind of overlap with pore clogging a good bit. So our checker, for the most part, I can't say it's about every single ingredient that possibly exists, for the most part, filters a lot of those out.
So I would love to know, because you guys are traveling a lot, what are some of the must-have ClearStem products that you always make sure to pack, especially if you're only bringing, say, your carry-on?
It's a good one.
So I have a little baggie in my backpack because I always have my backpack with me. So that's where I keep my laptop. So I have a baggie. It always has berberine if I come across anything sugary. Mind, body, skin, always, especially because you can't control what you're eating all the time when you're out and about. So mind, body, skin for sure. And then for products, Lips and Cutes, I've got 6 of these. If I don't have one of these, I literally pass away. And
She's
I'm
like,
always
every bag I own has one.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's called, the cutes part is it also can go on your cuticles. And
Oh,
make
I
your
didn't know that.
Yeah.
And
Oh
also
my
you're
gosh.
cute.
And also
You're cute. That's
Yeah.
why. Lips and cute.
Yeah. So that one, you are sunshine for sure. You can't go anywhere without your sunscreen. And then I would say both of us are just addicted to skin spray all day. Like being in an airplane for more than like an hour or two, like can have an effect on someone, especially if they're naturally drier.
Yeah.
And skin spray is a total game changer for the skin.
I used to break out like a lot from plane flights. Like I would have a long plane flight or a cross country one. And without a doubt, I would have 2 to 3 new breakouts like by the next morning. That has not happened since skin spray.
Yeah. Yeah, you
Unreal.
haven't broken out at all. Since
No,
you've been using it.
Yeah, because I have naturally drier skin. It has honestly transformed my skin barrier. I no longer identify with dry skin since skin spray. It just feels healthy and balanced. It's a great balancer.
And it's a good detox. I kind of did this just because I wanted to see what would happen, where I just cleansed and then did a ton of skin spray, let it absorb right before bed. I did even more. So I was like hydrated from the skin spray. And I just did that and only that for 3 nights in a row. My skin had this like whole reset.
I did this too after you told me to.
Guess what I'm doing for the next 3 nights?
Yeah,
Did it for 3 days. Yeah.
It's
Guess
like
what I'm buying?
Yeah, most hypochlorous sprays are extremely underwhelming. They're 99.5% water. And they are a little bit drying and they kind of smell like a pool. Some of them, like they're just not pleasant. So we took the benefits of hypochlorous, did a production technique where we kind of stabilized it and separated it with another batch that had actives like peptides, milk thistle, and magnesium. And then it's purple because it has a botanical blend that also has a cooling effect because acne is a heat inflammation related condition. So it does a lot of different things. Even if you have another hypochlorous acid spray, it's a night and day difference.
I threw it out. I had another one that I was given from a high-end spa. And I was like, no, thank you. This skin spray all day lives with me now. I like have to stop myself from using it too much during the day because I love it so much. I'm just going to go in the bathroom and like spritz it and walk away. It's so good. So Kayleigh, what are some of your non-negotiables that you throw in your travel bag?
Okay. So I was just telling Danielle this earlier. Clarity is one of those ones that like sometimes when I travel, I have it with me and other times I don't. Or if I run out of it, like sometimes I just forget to fill it because I'm like so addicted to like bounce back and skin spray that I'm like, oh shoot, I ran out of Clarity, like I don't have any, and I forget to place a new order to my house. So I'd run out of Clarity for about a week and I threw in a new one to my bag as we were traveling this week. So I finally, after like a week without being on Clarity, I got to use it the other night. I forgot how insane it is. Like I woke up the next morning, my skin was like glass. Like so smooth, so bright, so glowy. It looked like when I woke up, it looked like I had just done my skincare routine. Like that's how my face looked. And I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot how amazing this is. So Clarity is a really good one, especially when traveling and you're changing different climates. It can be so good. Like I don't use it in a crazy dry climate in the dead of winter, but we're in Nashville. It's more humid here. So like my skin reacts so well with it. And it's coming up on summertime, so I'm good to use it. It's pretty much only like going to ski in Colorado in the winter is when I like take like that week break from it, right? But Clarity is definitely a non-negotiable because it just like dissolves and because you're eating really differently when you're traveling and you're exposed to like different toxins or different water, just different things that affect your skin. So I want an acid that's going to get in there and dissolve whatever is going on when I travel. Our pregame face mask, also non-negotiable. And when I travel, like usually it's for an event, like we do, whether it's like press tours or we have events with our community or I'm traveling like for a wedding, you name it, like usually traveling for some type of event. And pregame just gives you like the glowiest, even tones.
And it's so pretty to look at.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you don't even need makeup after. You could do like the pregame mask and then do You Are Sunshine that creates like just a great little blur effect and then throw in a little mascara and like a little lips and cutes and you're good to go. And so I love those two, but can never forget our moisturizer, Hydro Glow, because I live and die by our Hydro Glow. So
I was going to say that might be my favorite product. Aside from the skin spray all day, like the Hydro Glow moisturizer, like I love your serums. And I never had tried your Hydro Glow. And I remember in the back of the fall, I'm like, you know what? Let's just give it a go. Let's try the moisturizer out. Cause I've used products everywhere from $10 to like $400 products. And this Hydro Glow moisturizer, my skin loves it like nothing else. I swapped it out for like a luxury high-end moisturizer. I'm like, I will never go back.
I love that. It's so amazing to hear.
It is the ingredient profile of a luxury high-end clinical moisturizer.
Yeah, like the bakuchiol, like it's just so lovely.
We could literally take our formulas, put them in like a, gold-plated packaging thing and sell them for triple the amount.
And that's what I think I really love about you guys is not only are your products, they work, they're great for the anti-aging, the acne, but they're priced really well. And I find they work, if not the same, even better than like those $200 serums that I've bought from like medical grade skincare companies.
I always buy those because I want to know what else
I'm curious.
The exosomes are having a moment right now.
Right.
I'm like, can you stabilize these? Come
How?
on.
Yeah, that $400 exosome serum. I'm like, but really?
Presence of, antimicrobial things. But anyway, yeah.
You're like, this is another podcast.
As an IV, like an actual internal.
Yes.
But anyway, so I bought like a $300 serum. I bought the plated one.
Yes.
So absolutely zero change.
Really? I was going to buy it. I'm glad you said that.
The brand plated?
It's called plated.
It's like, it's gold, right?
Yeah, I think so. I was really looking forward to it.
Same.
I looked at other, even if I don't make it, I want to use something like
try it out.
Something with exosomes. So I was like looking forward to it. I was like, this, like, seriously? I was like, how do I get my money back? And I like flew through it. I was like, I went back to Cell Renew and loved it 10 times more.
I tried a really similar one, a different brand that's trending right now, really on. They might also do exosomes, but they're like, we have 48 peptides in it. And like, it's in the $300 price range. I was like, okay, let's test it out. One, I did fly through it way faster than our serums, which was interesting. So I'm like, okay, less product. They had it in like an airless. So you also like don't know how much.
Yeah. Clever.
Yeah, I flew through it in less than 30 days, which I never have with our serums. I use a lot of our serums too. And I was being like very careful not to use too much because I was trying to get this. It was like $300+ serum. I was trying to get it to last longer. I also saw no change, and I actually liked our bounce back serum so much better because we made our bounce back serum a little thicker, and so it's on purpose slowly absorbs into the skin, just creating more change and a stronger barrier. And I actually loved the way my skin felt and looked so much more with our bounce back. And I'm not just saying that, like, I really did try both really unbiasedly. And it was wild. Like, this is like 4 times the cost of our product. And I did not see the change or difference that.
Yep. More expensive doesn't always mean better. And Cris, I recently sent you some Clearstem. I shipped it to your house. What was the favorite one of the 3 that I sent you?
I like them. They when they go on your skin, it feels clean. So I'm not like a skincare. I never grew up with the skincare. I'm nothing. Like, I have soap and water on my face that has like since dried, right? I'm going to tell you why. I found like one product, but here's the thing. I get products and I have extremely dry skin because I have an autoimmune. So absorption is naturally an issue. So I will start and do really well with a product for about a week or 2, and then she no work. It is my religion. It's my Bible story. So I'm like, I am not invested like Katie, where I am like going to go through every single product on the market, because to me, it's exhausting, right? I cannot get moisture into my skin. So I have been, since getting it, I have been applying my morning and my night and my eye.
Because I gave you the eye cream and I gave you the Hydro Glow, and I think I gave you the bounce back.
Yeah, listen, I can't tell you what it is. One's in the morning, one's in the night, one's on the eye. That's how much I know.
Put the Bright Eyes on your lips as well. It also doubles as like a lip peptide treatment.
Oh,
I use Bright Eyes on my lips all day long.
Okay, so I'll do that. But yeah, so it's not, I never grew up fully only child, these types of things. I just thought it was exhausting. It was to the point where my mom was like, you're going out like that? Like, go buy some makeup, right? Like, that's how much I've never. Now pushing way into my 40s, obviously things are not as robust and things sag, and I'm melting. I am Olaf. But yeah, I just haven't found anything that has like really fit all of that, nor what I would do with it. I would actually just need somebody to say, I said, every time Katie sends me something, I'm like, where's the how-to? Just tell me how to. But for your products, I've been using it religiously for probably about 2 weeks. no issues, no, sometimes products are sticky. Sometimes products are, like after later on you go like this. And if you have dry skin, you know what I mean? Like after you put on a product and you go like this, you can actually feel the flaking come down, right? Yeah, it's a falsity. So you can feel your skin and it feels like it's moist, but it's not. You go like that in the skin. So I haven't had that. So I'm seeing a lot of positivity out of it. I couldn't tell you the name of it. I apologize in advance. Even if it was sitting in front of me right now, I would probably be like, I
think it's like the Hydro Glow.
One's pretty pink box and one's a pretty blue box. And that's as much as I know. And one's a nice little eye cream with a green box.
So she's a convert to ClearStem is what she's getting at.
So yeah, but I have been enjoying it. So I can see the hype of it. I know like Katie religiously, you go anywhere with her and you cannot get a piece of that vanity in the bathroom. So I'm like, do I try? But it is. She goes like this and it's ClearStem. So because she is a connoisseur of this and because I obviously trust her thoughts on all these different products, then obviously I'm more invested to try something, that she's already gone through. So, I'll use my brain for protocols and minerals and doing all that background stuff. And then I will just follow her suit to say, here, Cris, try this.
And that's why you guys are the best partners.
Yeah, that's great.
Partners. Right? Like you two, just like you two.
But now I'm going to have to get my kids on your
Lips and Cute.
Your Lips and Cute because I said to them, this is the last summer Fridays I see in the house. This
no
is
more.
The last summer Friday. She no happening.
Well, ladies, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. This was so fun. Like I said, I'm a big fangirl, so thank you for coming on. We love your stuff. And for anybody that's listening, wants to check out ClearStem, I actually put the link in the resources. There's a code there for the listeners to save, try out the things. You can go back, listen to what Kayleigh's favorite, Danielle's, mine's, Cris, based on the box color. So ladies, thank you so much for hanging out with us today.
Thank you for having us. It was such a treat.
Amazing. All right, guys, that's another episode here at the Clear Skin Chronicles. We'll see you next week.